Hi, Dave Spalding from Handgun Combatives. You know, it seems to be the trend these days that many of the better, well-known instructors are moving away from doing these YouTube videos. And the reason for it is because there are just so many tactical idiots out there, people who troll around the internet looking for a way to kind of raise their own profile by trashing other people. And many of the instructors that I respect are actually moving away from doing the YouTube videos. And you know, quite frankly, I've thought about doing that myself, and then something like this comes along. This is a thank you note from a retired Army Ranger, and I'm going to read it to you. It said, "Dave, just wanted to say thanks. I enjoyed the course immensely. You're truly an outstanding instructor. I'm keenly interested in maintaining I'm keenly interested in maintaining the momentum with my daily dry fire drills, and would really appreciate it if you could take the time to tell me what I need to do to keep these skills sharp." And then he goes on to say a few other things. Well, again, this is a retired Army Ranger. And I'm very fortunate that while I can't say that I've trained the Army Rangers or I've trained the Navy SEALs, I've had Delta and SEAL and Rangers and pararescue jumpers individually in my classes. And they're universally true professionals that never call attention to themselves. They are actually kind of appalled by the way many of these internet trolls act, and actually all the wannabes out there that want to pretend that they're these armed professionals, they think are kind of hilarious. So when I get something like this, it makes me rethink that, you know, maybe I need to continue to do these YouTube type videos, and so that's the reason I'm here today. And what I want to do is I want to address this gentleman's concern about dry fire. So what I'm going to do in the next few minutes, I'm going to show you my dry fire program. This won't be the most exciting video you've ever seen, but if you're not really sure how to go about dry fire, then this may help you. Now, as you can see, as you can look around the room, we're in my wife's sewing room, or what I consider the spare bedroom. And the reason I consider it the spare bedroom is because there have been many of the well-known instructors, people that you would recognize if I gave you their names, who have actually stayed in this room while they've been here visiting. So I think of it as a spare bedroom. My wife thinks of it as the sewing room. And since I've been married 38 years, you know what we call this room in this house. Now, what I start out with in my range is basically a target. And this is it, hanging right inside this closet. It allows me to close the doors, or actually my wife will close the doors. And it's from the 10-8 training group, Modern Service Weapons website. Now, what I could have done is I could have taken this, I could have put my own logo on it, and I could have led you to believe that I thought of this. But you know what? There's already too many knucklehead instructors out there that want you to believe that they have thought of everything useful, and that's just absolute bullshit. So I'm not going to do that. You know, Modern Service Weapons, you can download it right there from their website, and it's darn good. And as you can see, it gives you an 8-inch circle high in the chest at 7, 10, 15, 20, 25 yards while standing at 12 feet. So that's what I dry fire on. Now, I'm going to spin around here and get over to that 12-foot area. I have a device in my Glock 19 that's from Ready Shot. It's actually part of the Ready Shot dry fire training device. Now, if you can get these electronic devices, they're fantastic. They really do help you to develop the skills. But not everybody can afford them because they're several $100s, and quite frankly, if you have several $100s available, do you spend it on a dry fire training device? Do you spend it on ammunition? Well, you know, I got to kind of let you decide that for yourself. But this device comes out of here, and what it allows me to do is basically work the reset on my pistol. I'm going to show you how to get around that if you don't have such a device, but another thing you can actually do, at least on the Glock and the M&Ps, is just lock the slide back a little bit, put a rubber band or a zip tie or something in there, and you can get this same effect. So what I start out with is I basically dry fire shots at the various distances. I'll secure a good solid grip, a good body position into the gun, and I'll come up and I'll go very slowly, working the trigger, working the reset at 7 yards. And what I'm watching for is the wobble. You're going to always have some wobble. You can't hold the gun totally still. But what you don't want to see is that front sight dipping down out of the way. You want to keep it in that rear sight window as you work that trigger. good grip, I'll work my way over, working the 10-yard, come back off of that, take a little bit of a rest, go up, work the 15-yard, a little bit of a rest, work the 20 and the 25, keeping that sight right there in that circle, working that trigger. Now, let's say you don't have this kind of a device. Well, we can pull it out, work it, double, triple, quadruple check that the gun is empty, and you can come back up on the target, press the trigger, hold the trigger to the rear against the frame, work the slide, come back up, let it out to reset, and back again. Now, understand that when you're live firing and you're working that trigger very quickly, you won't be able to work to reset. But using that reset, what it allows you to do is it allows you to stay on the trigger because you don't want to be coming all the way off and going back again. And by working that reset, it allows you to maintain felt contact with the trigger. And that's very important when shooting fast. If you come off the trigger and then you slap it again, you're much more likely to take that gun down to 7 o'clock or 5 o'clock, depending on whether you're right or left-handed. So you want to maintain tactile contact with the trigger, and working that reset allows you to do that. Keep in mind that what we're trying to do here is we're trying to get you to feel how far to let that trigger out. If we can get you to be minimal on that trigger, only doing what you have to do, then you're going to be much faster, much better with your gun. Now, the argument's going to be, well, Dave, if you come all the way off the trigger and come back down again, you can pick up and shoot any gun anywhere in the world. Okay. What's the chances in the shopping mall parking lot some evening when you're fighting for your life that you're going to have to pick up somebody's Tokarev and use it to save your life, the battlefield pickup? Is it possible? I guess. Is it likely? No. You need to train and practice with the gun that you're going to bring to the fight, because that's probably the one you'll start and finish the fight with. So all of that stuff doesn't make anything, just doesn't make sense to me. So what I'm going to be doing is I'm going to be working to be minimal on that trigger as much as I can, maintaining contact. So once I've gone through that a bit, what I do from there is I work through my various ready positions. Now, I have what I call an arc of ready, and if you're ever been in any of my classes, you'll know what I'm talking about. I teach 3 different ready positions. I teach a chest ready, I teach a compressed low ready, and I teach a high ready position. As you can see, it looks kind of like an arc around me. And I use the ready position that's applicable for the situation that's unfolding in front of me. So I'll stand on target. I'll use either the 7 or the 10-yard circle. It really doesn't much matter. And I'll start from the high ready position, working it out real slow. And what I'm looking to do is to deliver that gun so the front sight drops into the rear sight, and I touch and press the trigger. I don't try to go slow. Do a number of repetitions of that. Then I'll go to my chest ready position, bring it up, looking to bring the front sight right to the target in the rear window, kind of like I'm stabbing a spear. Just it arrives at the eye target line. And then I'm going to go to that compressed low ready position and basically do the same thing I do with the chest ready position. Bring it up, it arrives at the eye target line, in the rear sight, touch, press the trigger. So I'll go through all those ready positions. Then what I'll do is I'll do my holster skills. Now you can do this concealed, you can do it unconcealed. Actually, I kind of like to do it a little bit both because I like to get a nice pure draw stroke unconcealed and then enter the garment removal technique as I continue my practice. And I'll mix this up. You know, I'll start with my hands maybe in front of me like this, come up, deliver the gun to the target. I may have my hands up like this, deliver it to the target. I may have my hands, you know, stuck in my pockets like this, up, deliver it to the target. Maybe across my body, up, deliver it to the target. What I'm looking for is I'm looking for the gun to arrive where I am looking. To me, that tells me I've got a good draw stroke. I'm looking at the threat. The gun arrives there. I can touch and press the trigger. Listen, body manipulation is what's going to get that gun to the target. Anybody that thinks they can just fling the gun down there, chase down the front sight, and they're going to get a good shot is kidding themselves. It's not going to happen. So, standing here like this, elbow straight to the rear. I'm bringing the support hand up in front of me, so if I needed to defend or fight that I could. I draw the gun up, I rotate it down. At this position, I'll put my hand kind of like I'm holding a hot dog in a hot dog bun and I'm getting ready to put some sort of a condiment on it. And then I'll reinsert the pistol right here at basically the chest ready position, take it to the target, bang. I'm a real big believer in having techniques move together. So I'll have a chest ready position that's similar to where my hands come together when I'm taking the gun to the target. That way I can marry techniques. Okay, from the draw position, or from holster skills and practicing the draw, I'll just turn sideways, and maybe I'm standing here having a conversation with somebody at the Walmart or whatever, and I turn because something has cued in my ear to see what the threat is, and I'll come up and I'll draw. Now, depending on the space that you have would determine how much lateral movement. If you want to just start out initially just turning and drawing and bring the gun up, that would be great. Go in the other direction. Standing here, I hear something, I turn, there's the threat, up, out. Now you notice I'm not going really fast. I'm deliberately going about half to 3/4 speed because when I dry fire, I want my brain to kind of take in what my body is doing. I don't want one to overwhelm the other. Then if I want to take it a little bit further, I can kind of turn like this and move, put a little lateral movement into it if I want. And then I can go around this direction. I can say I simulate, I hear it coming from this side, turn, deliver the gun. Again, looking for the gun to arrive on target where I'm looking. Next thing I'll do, I'll add dummy magazines, dummy rounds. You can see I got orange rounds. I got orange followers. I know it's very common practice for lots of you folks out there to put these orange base plates on your practice magazines. I would really caution you not to do that. Save orange for safety. You know, get blue ones or green ones or whatever you want to do, but let's save these orange followers and these orange rounds for safety purposes. Now, what I'm going to do here is I'm just going to practice a typical speed load, exchanging the magazines. Start from various ready positions. In this particular case, I'm going to start from the high ready position. I'm going to come out on target, and then I'm going to very slowly go through the reload. Now, again, not going real fast there. What I'm looking for is a quality repetition, so I'm going to keep it half or 3/4 speed. Put the gun on the target. I'm going to bring it back. Magazine's going to come up, eject, insert, back to the target. Never give up a known for an unknown. The idea in a fight that you'll eject a magazine before you know you've got one to put in it doesn't make sense to me. Dave, what if you're on the gun dry? Well, I also do the same thing when I practice my emergency reloads. So having the gun on target, come up, and as you can see, it got glommed up. Hey, that happens. Let's start from scratch, do it again. Basically what happened there was I didn't get enough pressure on the magazine button to get the magazine to come out. Well, you know what? That's something I want to know here and not out on the street. So we'll do another repetition. We'll fix it. It'll come up. Boom. On target. Now, any number of ways to drop the slide, that is totally up to you. For many, many years, what I do is I insert the magazine. I rotate with support hand up. I drop the slide. Some people like to use the shooting hand thumb. Some people like to come over top and like overhand grip it. That's up to you. I really don't care. But these various exercises right here are the things that I do in my regular dry fire routine. One last thing that I might do is I may take that emergency reload and I'll put a little bit of movement into it. Now, it's not going to be real dramatic movement because I haven't got a lot of room. But what I may be doing is I may be on target and I'll come across the room like this, working the reload while I do some movement. So all of this stuff depends on, the space you've got, whether you live in an apartment. If you've got a basement that's huge and you can put multiple shooting stations and stuff in it, outstanding. If not, just little simple drills like this can make you a much better shooter. Now, when I go through my routine, it may take me a half an hour, 40 minutes to do that. But there's a lot of times that I don't do that. I take 5 minutes and maybe I just work on the ready position. The next day, maybe I got 5 minutes, I work on the reload. Next day, 5 minutes, do some draw and shoots. I do that an awful lot in hotel rooms and stuff when I travel. So It's really up to your imagination, and I think really the important thing is not so much that you follow my particular routine. The important thing is that you develop a routine of your own, you practice your skills, and you get really, really good at them. Because if you think about combative pistol craft, the only thing that really requires live fire is recoil control and that repeated trigger control where you're working that trigger. Everything else can be done dry fire. You know, whether I do kneeling positions, I mean, I could be standing here and just practice going into a kneeling position like that while I draw. So use the dry fire program, develop one of your own, do it religiously every day, and I guarantee you, you will be a much better shooter. So thanks for checking in. I'll continue to do these videos until somebody finally pisses me off to the point I just can't stand it anymore. But until then, it's really important for me to try to help the good guys and gals that are out there worried about their personal security. So stay safe.